Hello and welcome to the Astrocast. We do apologise for our bit of a delay between episodes. Various things happened, but we're back and mystery new host. So tonight I am joined by
There we go. I'm here.
Mataspore and DarkMouse.
Hello.
And our new host, after much promising and empty promises, is Feth.
Hello. So I am finally here.
Yay.
Woo!
We finally pushed the project out the door and I can join you guys.
Nice.
What, we can impress everybody by saying what the project was.
Yes, the second highest grossing movie of all time, not to be bragging or anything.
It's just a little indie film, really, isn't it?
Yes, tiny project. You'd never have heard of it.
I didn't think it was anything particularly big.
No, nothing special at all. Not compared to what we're talking about tonight.
Whoop, whoop. So yes, that was the Avengers Endgame for anyone who, is slightly slow of wit.
Under a rock.
Or has been under a rock for the past year. So,
I have.
Feth, I think you've been under a desk for the last year is probably the more accurate description.
Basically, yes. So, I am Thef. I am a huge 40k and Age of Sigmar nerd. I play Deathwing, Tau, lots of Tau, not Tau Deathwing, but Deathwing at Dark Angels, Tau, bit of Ideneth Deepkin, bit of Flesh Eater Courts, bit of Nighthaunt, a little bit of Eldar, a lot of Sisters of Battle. I think that's about it. Been playing nearly 20 years now, started in 3rd edition, back when everything was metal.
Oh, glorious Halcyon days.
Yeah, back when the paint pots had little screw-top lids with indents in them.
I remember my old metal plasma cannon guy who would fall over if you put him on anything other than the flattest of ground.
Oh, yes. Times. I remember the backache from taking a full 1,000-point Sisters army to Games Workshop.
Ouch.
It was all metal. All of it.
That's nasty.
Yeah. But, you'll be able to retire that army at some point this year, with any luck. Well, with any luck,
yeah.
Excellent. So, what attracts you to Warhammer, this crazy hobby of painting toy soldiers?
I'll admit it's mostly the building and painting. I'm not a great gamer, but I do very much enjoy sitting, building, painting, coming up with backstories, writing said backstories. I like writing lists, but I don't often get to play them. So, yeah, that's more my thing. I used to run the Warhammer Club back in high school, which was always good fun.
Right. Tonight we'll mostly be discussing the events and reveals from Warhammer Fest 2019. I'll be honest, I was paying reasonable attention to the feed during the day, although I was on a stag do drinking vodka, so there's only so much that's permeated the haze.
I would have loved to have seen your notes from that experience. There's the thing. It's the thing. It's so blurry.
It was mostly me and Callum going, "Oh, look at this," and everyone else going, "What are you two on about?" Just ignore us. Give us a second.
Oh dear.
Right. So if we start from the top of the page on the community site, first, what are people's overall thoughts of Warhammer Fest from what they've seen?
Kind of makes me want to go actually next year.
Go this year, but I'd say I kind of had this stag do. So
I always kind of think, oh, I should really go, and then it gets around to it's like, oh, it's like next weekend. Oh, so I'm not going then.
Yeah.
Well, to be perfectly honest, it's not exactly my cup of tea. So I don't know about going, but it does look like it would be a fun event to watch, I suppose.
I think it'd be quite cool being in the seminars when they're going, and this is the new Space Marine Close Combat Unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so if we just... sorry, I thought you were about to say something then.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I was looking at my notes and thinking I should say a thing, and then I thought better of it.
Oh dear.
I
think it'd be interesting to go, but I think that these days it's mostly the reveals that they put on the community website anyway. Historically, if you wanted to see the reveals, you kind of had to go or hope that someone was nice and would put them on the internet.
I they were staggering it though this year. I think it seems like they were doing an hourly update. So if the stuff may have been several times, I went on Facebook and someone like Garrow or someone who was actually at the event would be posting pictures before the actual blog went live, which is cool.
Yeah. I think it's a reflection of the more social media adept Games Workshop that they've actually bothered to do things properly this time.
Yes, I think. Well,
I don't know if I call them adept. That seems like a step slightly too high.
I don't know. I've seen some
social
of the
media basically competent.
I don't know, I've seen some of the comments on Facebook when they've been basically slapping people down. They've been like, "You don't do this." Like, well, you should take a look at this and see that we do this.
I would say the team themselves are very good at social media side. I think they are.
Yeah,
they seem to have loved events, but I've always found them amusing to engage with whenever I have chatted.
They're certainly good at putting down trolls, or indeed trolling themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're telling me that my guy can't shoot at Gilliman if there's a single guardsman in the way? Yes, but what were you planning to do to Gilliman if you couldn't kill a single guardsman?
I do like that mentality.
Yeah. Right, so if we start on the blog, now that we've got an interesting order we could do it in, we could do from the bottom and work up, or go from the top and work down.
Well, that's entirely up to you, good sir. Nah.
Dealer's choice. If we go back in time, so we start at day 2, 4:45, and work our way down. That's probably the most logical. Admittedly, the first thing is not the most exciting. It's cool, but the winner of the Slayer Sword and the final pictures.
There were some very pretty models this year.
Oh, yeah.
There was a really cool one I saw, which was a Librarian Terminator armor, kind of doing like a force push, I think a load of Tyranids with like lightning, like throwing a wall of lightning at some Tyranids, and the Tyranids are all being thrown back, and it was just like, that's insane. That's pretty cool. Wow.
Well, it's always meant to be the best of the best for painting and modelling and everything else, and it never fails to impress.
No, I mean, just looking at the Slayer Sword winner this year, Maxi Penus, is that a Troggoth?
That is a Dankhold Troggoth from the Gloomspite Gits range. I will eventually get my words out.
You might say it's the dankest Troggoth.
It is just beautifully
done.
done.
Very, very good.
It is very, very nicely done.
I did see one snide comment on Facebook about this. It's more being aimed at the contrast range, going, "No, that wasn't done with contrast, now was it?"
No, it wasn't. That was like, no, contrast hasn't come out yet, so I guess not.
And also, that's like Winners of Golden Demon, like the top of the painting hierarchy. It's you know, that probably took 6 months to paint,
and the rest.
Yeah.
Although that does nicely segue into contrast.
It does. That is at the bottom of the page.
Oh, I was seeing the big picture of Duncan with.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we may as well discuss contrast here then. Kind of works in nicely. What are people's thoughts on contrast?
I think it will be relatively interesting to see how it changes the way that people paint. I mean, personally, I use a lot of washes on my models, so I'll do a base layer and then I'll do a wash and then I'll do my highlights. So it'll be interesting to see if contrast does actually cut out the shade layer or not for me.
Yeah.
Or if it even means I need to highlight as much.
Dear God.
That's it. I mean, I'm not. I never find myself having the patience to highlight. So if this can give pseudo highlights, then I might be switching over to contrast. If it works as well as it's being advertised, and what I've seen people saying on Facebook who've used it because they had it for demos on day, it could be a kind of a bit of a game changer in how you paint.
Yep, because it's going to make it. I think the idea of it sprang from, well, this would be my guess, is the idea of it sprang from people online who have developed a similar technique, except they haven't formulated their own paint. They instead, I think they spray a model black, then they spray spray from above a good distance white, and that just catches the upper edge of the models. And then when you base coat it, the white shows, obviously the white areas that were white show up lighter than the areas that were black. So you've got your built-in shading there.
I'm actually guilty of doing that on some miniatures from another manufacturer, and it comes out really nicely, especially with a Nuln Oil wash over the top. But
I'll say there's nothing to be guilty about it. It's a good technique. It's not one I got the patience for, but it's a good technique.
Yeah. Well, again, this contrast looks like it's pretty much meant to get rid of the need for anything like that.
Yeah.
So the idea is good, and like you said, if it does what the advert shows it doing, then awesome.
Yeah, I am looking at a box of 40 crypt ghouls for the Flesh Eater Corpse sat in my project box and thinking, you might get painted.
Contrast.
Keyword there, might.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of thinking if this basically eliminates. So when I'm painting my ultramarines, it's I spray them blue, then I touch up the blue, then I shade, then I dry brush some highlights. If that essentially means I can do all, well, I still need to spray, but if I could do those 3 steps in one, that's probably 2.5 hours off a tactical squad.
Yeah,
Which,
pretty good.
Well, there was a wonderful statistic from our friendly local games workshop where the guy told me that his friend had painted the entirety of Blackstone Fortress, like everything in the box, in the space of 2 hours using contrast.
wow.
Because there is a lot in that box.
Yeah, that took me about 3 months to paint.
Yeah, and he didn't stop and eat or sleep or go to work or anything, just sat painting for 3 solid months.
I'd hope mine were slightly better quality if I had done that, but not that mine are bad. So I'm definitely going to give it a go. Probably end up buying some of the easy build Primaris just as kind of cheap test models.
Yeah.
The 2 colours that I really want to see how they work are black and white, because I've never done a black and never done a white and so you're not like a large area. I've done some. I've got the store opening Primaris captain who I've painted up as first company, so he's got white shoulder pads.
Yeah,
which that looks fine, but his cloak is also white, and I don't like the white on the cloak. It just looks a bit flat.
Yeah,
this actually allows me to have a white that I'm happy with.
So those Tau I mentioned that I play, all of the armor is white. This will be a game changer if it's good.
I don't know how you meant.
With great difficulty and mild amounts of internal screaming.
Nice. So that is contrast. So if we now, there's also a new painting competition called Ever Chosen for the elite of the elite. Cool.
Oh yeah, I saw the video. I didn't actually know what that was. So it's more okay. Cool.
Unlike where there's like there used to be a Slayer sword for the UK Games Day, the US Games Day, all that kind of stuff. The Ever Chosen is going to be a worldwide painting competition.
That'll be interesting to see how they handle. Because the UK ones and the US ones are easy enough for. I say easy enough. The US is a little bit bigger than we are, but still, it's relatively easy enough for people to get to it within their own country. And if the people outside the country want to go, yeah, cool, let's go over the pond, then fair enough. But I mean, are they going to host the Ever Chosen ones at the same time? Are they doing them on different dates?
Watch this space. I think it's going to be how it's going to be.
Yeah. I mean, Games Workshop have been doing fairly well with organising events and working with independent people and stuff recently, so I'm hoping they'll handle that well.
Their events team seems to be pretty good. Done.
Yeah.
Studio previews on 3 continents now, so
Yeah.
Doing well. Right, shall we move on to the first of the Horus Heresy stuff?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Now, as soon as I saw these, I messaged Andrew, because me and Andrew have a semi-regular chat about heresy.
Yeah.
Basically goes, we should do heresy.
Just committing it, so,
Bit of both. I'm listening to a lot of... I'm slowly working my way through the Horus Heresy audiobooks, and I really want a heresy army. It's just in my brain that I want a heresy army. And I've picked up a few characters just because I quite like the models. So I've got like the Vigilator, I picked up the Primus Medicae for a reasonable price on eBay. So
yeah, on the back of that, I painted up a Relic Contemptor in Deathwing colours a while ago, and I can see the joy of many of those on the battlefield.
And now you have a Dark Angels one.
Yes. I looked at these and went, does this mean we're getting a resin lion? Please let there be a resin lion. Dear God, give me the resin lion now.
I was almost certain he was going to drop this weekend. I was not quite willing to put money on it, but as soon as I saw like the first grainy pictures of the Dark Angels coming through, it's like, we're getting the lion today.
Yeah. I would like the lion because I just want to own the model and paint it. Even if I never play Heresy, I want to own the model and paint it.
Yeah, we all know Forge World's release schedule is a little bit balked sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I think they had a bit of problems when Alan
Just
Bly
a tad.
died. That kind of threw stuff out of whack a
Yeah.
bit. But they seem to be back on course now. So we have 2 Praetors, one in Cataphractii and one in Mark III, a Leviathan and a Contemptor. They're beautiful. They're just, wow.
They are very,
I
very
like-
pretty models.
I like the Terminator dude. His pose is pretty nice, and the Volkite gun he's got is pretty sweet. I can kind of take or leave the guy next to him. I don't know. I feel like after a long time in Games Workshop hobby, I've just been looking at a lot of Space Marines.
And you don't even play Space Marines.
How long?
No,
Well, you
it's-
don't have to play Space Marines. They're bloody everywhere.
Yeah, it's a Space Marine. The guy next to him looks good because he looks different. He's a different silhouette to what I'm used to. Even the 40k Terminators look slightly different. But the guy next to him, the Space Marine, it's what Space Marines look like. The backpack's a bit different, I suppose. But even Plague Marines have a backpack that's basically that.
Yeah. Well, I think because that's
Is it
what Space Marines are in Mark III, but
Yeah, he has a shield, I suppose.
yes.
Yeah, he does. It's a different shape shield as well. It's a night shield.
They have
Yeah, it's good.
captured that feel of the knightly orders of Caliban in these guys.
I think they have the infantry miniatures. It's very difficult to do for vehicles.
Yeah,
But again,
true.
it's
Yeah,
just
I admit,
nuts.
I'm not entirely sure about the weird shield knee pads on the machines. That
I didn't
looks
even
a
notice
little.
those.
Yeah, I didn't at first, but then I did, and now I can't not notice them.
Yeah,
It
I
looks
so-
like them actually.
weird.
I like them. I think because it ties them in nicely with the shape of the shield. The guy above them has it. From a design point of view, they're very nice miniatures. With the shield tying in the infantry hero to the dreadnoughts themselves. But then, other than the ostentatious swords and angel wings, reliquaries and candles, why are there candles on there? Who put the
Because-
candles on a vehicle?
There should always be candles on there.
That would never stay lit.
Well, they're not lit. You can see that on the model.
Danny,
Well,
is
no, but if they ever lit them, they would never stay lit.
Well, no, they probably have them lit while they're in those weird shrine things that they have. They basically worship the damn things anyway. They're
Guys,
still there.
these are Dark Angels. They bolt masonry to aircraft. Candles are the least of your worries.
I just think, yeah, fair enough. But I think that's a really
Well,
bad.
I like that. Ignore that minor inconsistency. We have bigger concerns.
Yeah, fair enough. That point.
I also find the candles a little weird because the Dark Angels are the emo faction that would rather sit in the dark. So,
That'd be why they're not lit.
that's a good point. There we go. We've solved the candle mystery.
Well, okay. So
Now
you're
you've-
saying now they intentionally melted the candles down to stubs, then glued them to the dreadnought just for the sake of being emo.
Well,
That's
you
what
have to
Flamer
have
is for.
fun as well.
See, now you've mentioned. Now we've cleared that one up. You've got a whole new inconsistency now about bolting pieces of masonry or stuff. The infantry should basically be sheathed in marble in that case, and they're not.
bonus points to anyone who paints that shield as a marble. There's a bit of marble.
I will try. I will pledge
Okay.
right now. I will
Just-
try.
Hefting
look
a
like he's
massive
straining.
slab of stone because, well, why not?
Because Dark Angel. This was
I
taken
can
from
see
all
it.
of my ancestors, I think.
I mean, in fact, I can kind of see the Imperial Fist doing that and literally becoming the wall.
Guys,
To become
I
the
found a shield.
fortifications.
I stole my grandmother's countertop and I found a shield.
So now the Dark Angels have been thoroughly dismissed
Abused.
as humorous.
Okay. You got the
Onto
weird
the dark.
xenomorph-looking walkers.
Yes, the new Mechanicum Knights, based on the Armiger chassis.
Can I just put it
Cool.
out there that I think armigers are adorable and more of them is not a bad thing.
I love the fact they've tried to call them a separate class of knights, and when it's like, well, it's based on the Armiger chassis, but we're going to call them knights. But they're small, aren't they? Smaller than knights in the first place.
Yeah.
They are. I'm looking at a couple stood next to my big knight in the cabinet. They're about 2/3 the height.
So it's like, well, how are you calling that a knight? You've got actual knights that stride into battle.
Well, I think when I was listening to the Jez Goodwin interview on them, he saw these as like these are the squires to the knight.
Yeah,
That's their
they're
retainers.
described in the codex as being like the hunting hounds to the knights. So like they would fulfill the role of a squire on horseback or a hound or something like that, where the big knight would kill something or shoot something, and then the armigers would go and finish it.
Okay, so they're classed like a little knight type thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's
So to give you an idea, in the Battle of Hoth, you remember there was the ATTATs and the ATSTs. The
Yes.
armigers are the ATSTs to the full knights ATTAT walkers.
Sweet.
I believe in the lore, so the knights are piloted by nobles, whereas these are
Yeah.
like respected commoners, basically.
Yeah. Or indeed
That
bastards that have been granted hunting rights.
One of the interesting things that came out of the Jez Goodwin interview, he had one of the ideas of making like an ammo carrier for the knight,
Yeah.
so you could reload the knight in battle, which I thought was quite a cool idea.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I can just imagine this armiger being stepped on by another knight in the meantime. I've got your... I'm dead. Fuck.
I'm just going to brush this off my foot and keep stomping.
Just small
sounds
explosions
about
as
right
ammo
for the
cocks
attitude of a
off.
standard Imperial Knight, to be honest.
Yeah.
So as the new chassis, the Forge World armigers, I like the claw.
Yeah.
I think the gun weapons, apart from the one that looks a little bit like a chain gun with a small autocannon attached to it, the rest of the ranged weapons kind of just look like what we've seen already.
Yeah.
But the claws look actually something different and interesting.
Well,
And I want to know what they do.
They look different, yeah. They also look like the grabby claws from those machines with the toys in them.
The claw.
The claw, yeah, from Toy Story.
That'd be
one.
awesome if that was their rule. They
it
shot
looks
that
like
claw
that.
out and they got a prize.
Yeah, I'm wondering
and
if that's
bring
what
it
they
back.
do. If it shoots out on a cable and grabs something and then yanks it in.
If it doesn't, now I'm going to be horrendously disappointed. That'll be all your fault.
We have seen the harpoon gun on the Knights Castellan. I forget what the name is. Begins with V. Big, massive harpoon gun that can shoot through things and does like 10 damage flat.
I'm sure it's not the name, but I want to say the Violator.
That's what it does, if not what its name is.
It's now the Violator.
Yeah.
I believe it's a graviton gun
It's the Violator.
based on this knight having a very similar weapon.
Oh.
Makes sense.
Oh, the Styrex.
Yes. Oh god, fucking
let's
pops
see.
just appeared on my screen.
What does it appear on you? What?
Oh, yeah, it does look very similar.
Yes.
If that's a gun, they'll be very disappointed. It would have been a really cool melee weapon.
Yeah. I was gonna
Valiant.
say-
It's the Knight of Valiant. Is the harpoon
That's the
version.
one, not the Knight Violator. Okay.
That might be
I
the
like the
Chaos
Violator
version.
better.
That's a shame.
I was going to say, speaking of knights and things, I am
Yep.
excited a bit later on.
Yep. I know exactly what you're excited for.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. When we get to that.
I may
Yep.
also know. I may also be excited for you.
Through the next section, there are more video games coming. Cool.
That's
It's
never
good to
a
see.
bad thing.
Yay.
Yeah.
Chaos
it's good to-
Pain.
It's good to see the IP kind of getting out there and letting more people enjoy it. So yeah, cool.
Yeah. I'll be honest, the only one that really jumps out at me is Underworld's Digital. Well, Shadespire Digital or whatever it's being called. Because Shadespire is a lot of fun. And I feel like more people might play it if it gets video.
Well, that's the running theme, though, is if you get a video game that's based on the tabletop game, as long as the video game, when it comes out, is good, people play it and go, okay, so, or they might get stuck in a level and search it up. And then up online, lo and behold, pops up the miniature version as well.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a good business move by Games Workshop to have more games like this turn up. It'll just...
Extra credit to a really good pair of videos on Games Workshop and how they're doing video games nowadays. Because obviously for a long time they just had THQ.
Yeah.
And that was it. They just THQ published everything. Now they're being kind of very scattershot with the license, and essentially anyone can make a Warhammer video game as long as you've got a machine capable of compiling code. Most. And what they're doing is they're not quality checking the games for gameplay, because there's just too many of them. But they're quality checking for the IP. Does this orc look like an orc? Does it sound like an orc? Does it act like an orc?
Yeah.
And if they do, that's fine. But the idea being that people will go, this game's crap. I want to play a good game in this universe. And then they find the other stuff.
Yeah.
It seems to be working for them.
I'd also point out that not every type of game appeals to every type of person. I know Imperial Knight Renegade got shat on when it was released, but I really enjoyed it.
That's fair enough. There's different opinions, and no release will ever please everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So then we've got some more stuff on Golden Demon. Again, we've covered this. Black Lightning
Anybody
Audio.
want to talk about the Bandai partnership?
I think from an IP, from a getting their business point of view out there, it's an interesting idea. As a person, I just can't see. I mean, I know they want their miniatures to be bigger, and they've been going bigger with their miniatures for years now. But this is just that takes the cake.
I'll probably get one.
If it comes unpainted, I won't be touching it.
I do like the idea of a giant scale Dark Angel that I can paint up really nicely with contrast. So it won't take that long.
I think you just have to kind of throw the contrast at it.
Just
That's a lot of paint for a miniature. That's not even a miniature at that point, is it?
No, it's an action figure.
That's a macroture. Or, an action figure as the map on know.
Looking at what Bandai do otherwise, I don't think it will be unpainted. I think it will be painted. And if you read the press release, so there are essentially the two kind of Bandai products that are coming out for Warhammer. We've got the action figure, which I'm excited about because it will probably be an Ultramarine, and the chibi figures, which I'm less jazzed about. But
I'm going to be pissed if the chibi Sister of Battle comes out before the actual Plastic Sisters release, because that means another company has done an actual Sisters, basic troop in plastic before Games Workshop.
Well, to be fair, from the looks of it, it's going to be a series line box, so they'll probably all be released at the same time. But it'll be if you buy the box, you've got no idea what it is inside.
It's Gashapon in Japan. Oh dear. Yeah, it's going to be it's bloody Beanie Babies.
Basically,
it is Beanie Babies. You buy the blind bag and you get the toy. Yeah. Oh no. Okay.
Which means that someone out there is going to be sat there with several of the same, going, "I didn't want these." And then the internet comes to the rescue because blind boxes don't truly mean blind boxes.
It just means eBay.
Yeah, basically.
Well, yeah.
Someone will get in the hat. Someone will crack it first. They'll buy an absolute ton of them, and they'll make a killing selling them off to people who want particular ones, who don't want to spend a fortune on blind boxes.
What you mean, like Magic cards, Pokemon cards, and all the other stuff that we've collected over the years that we can just go to the internet and acquire individuals of now?
Yes.
When you say it like that, we sound like idiots.
I didn't say it.
Well,
I didn't even think it.
So, of the five, I think they are all quite nice. Not my kind of thing. I'm not really a fan of Funko Pop. These are kind of very similar style.
I'm going to look shiftily as I pat my little Dark Angel in his hood on his head on my desk.
Buy what makes you happy, but
I think the Funko Pop thing is a little bit. It depends on the figure. Some figures look interesting and would. I wouldn't be unhappy for them to be on my shelf. Some of them, I think, just look a little bit, they're just not my thing. It's very, very dependent on the actual figure it's representing.
The thing is, he stood next to the sad Porg Funko Pop from The Last Jedi, and I've probably just lost any credibility I had in the geek fandom at this point, but it looks like he's defending the sad Porg, which is just adorable, and yes.
To be fair, Space Marines would probably more than likely kill and eat the sad Porg.
I know.
Yeah, the kind of like natural ecosystem of a world doesn't tend to hang around very long in the Warhammer 40k universe, no matter whose attention comes to it.
Yeah.
With the possible exception of like Elder Exodites or something like that.
Yeah, I'll give credit. The Tau don't tend to destroy worlds when they populate them.
No, they just subsume them into their death cult.
Yeah. I'm not saying they're good guys. I'm just saying they don't tend to wipe out the ecosystem as quickly as the Imperium would.
Not all the Imperium,
Yeah, fair. Actually, yeah, the Ultramarines tend to build
going
nice
back to
cities
the
and
Horus
reform,
Heresy, this is the Imperium that quite literally concreted an entire planet.
I mean, yes, that was for a parade. You've got to have exceptions.
Yes, they concreted an entire planet for a parade.
Which didn't even use the entire planet.
God help us if the American president ever listens to this podcast, because that's an idea he will try.
He'll just concrete the entirety of America.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
Moving swiftly on, Tyranid leggings, everyone.
Oh, yeah! Me and Brad have run into things like this before!
Yeah! Can I say that they're not as bad as some of them?
No, that's true. The ones shown here are not as bad as what we saw before. They are, however, just as disturbingly skin tight.
Yes. I get the impression that the core people recording this podcast are not the target demographic of those leggings.
You know what? You might be right.
And in the nicest possible way, I sincerely hope not.
Your inbox now is full of emails from Games Workshop going, why? Why won't you buy these leggings? What's wrong with them? Why won't you want
If they will pay me to wear them, I will wear them. There will be
You
casualties, but I will wear them.
You couldn't even pay me to wear them.
Well, yeah. But then I get the impression that this is designed for people who are more likely to cosplay than play the games,
Yes.
is my thought there.
Very possibly.
Oh.
But most
The-
cosplayers will go to more effort than a pair of leggings to look like a Tyrannid.
This is true. As we found at Comic-Con that one time.
Oh
I was
no.
going to say, that segues nicely into the cosplay pictures. Again,
Oh, yes.
there's only a couple on this page, but really nice Acolyte, really nice Tech Priest.
I think
Solid work.
I think the Tech Priest turns up at most of these things. He's quite a celebrity in those circles. I've seen quite a few articles online about him.
Yeah. There's a lot of very talented people out there who are far more dedicated than I when it comes to making costumes.
Yep, time. People who can put the time into
There's
it.
Urkel Dawn with mutton chops. There's mutton chops for Urkel Dawn in the cosplay.
Yes.
What?
Oh yeah, there is.
Oh god, there is. Oh, wow.
He
That's
is suitably cramped in the elevator.
okay.
Yep. the problem I have with
Oh, God.
cosplay like that is I'd have to get anywhere wearing it on the tube. And the idea of walking onto the tube in a full suit of power armor.
You'd probably find that people will move out of the way just because they don't want to get stood on by you.
I was going to say, I have enough trouble getting a seat with an actual disabled badge on the tube. I doubt they'd move for a piece of power armor. However, that Khorne Berserker is a hell of an effort.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is good.
Again, some
There are
more
lots of
cool
pictures
Tech
here.
Priests.
Yep.
Nice bit of guard. I recognise some of those Nerf guns.
Oh look, there's a grand total of 2 pictures for Age of Sigmar cosplay.
It's
Yeah, but
Wonderful.
good effort for them.
Yeah.
I will say that.
I would argue, but the Stormcast is possibly one of the best cosplays there
Yeah.
because it's all kind of in proportion. I think the problem with marine armor cosplay is really hard to get the proportions right.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Also, if you raise your arms too far, your pauldrons slam together and crush your head.
You just gotta make sure your head's inset enough so that when you raise your arms too far, they make like a coving over your head instead. So you've got instant rain protection.
It was the Emperor's ultimate plan, so that no Space Marine could ever
God.
surrender by putting their hands up. They raise their arms in surrender, and the pauldrons clang together and crush their skull.
That makes an almost disturbing amount of sense.
Knowing the Emperor, yes.
Just a little bit.
Oh dear. And then below that we've got
Does anyone mind if we jump past Middle Earth?
Absolutely not. Let's jump past Middle Earth.
Just,
Yeah.
Aside from the
please.
Hobbit hole
The two-
kit, which is adorable. But
The Hobbit kit is cool, and the Bandits probably cool for something else. But
it makes solid D&D
Okay,
townspeople.
I think all right. The models are fine, but at this point, can they just let it die? I don't want to play through the scouring of the Shire.
again,
I don't need to play through the scouring of the fucking Shire.
I do sometimes hear people saying the big draw about Lord of the Rings, and I'll sit there going, what draw about Lord of the Rings? You're not fighting like your own battle, you're reenacting someone else's.
Yeah.
Just,
I will give credit. I got into the hobby through Lord of the Rings because I wanted to paint the pretty miniatures, but I very quickly moved on to Necrons.
I get kind of the appeal of playing the big climactic battles and everything. I don't get the appeal of playing Tolkien's afterthought because he realised he hadn't quite got rid of Saruman yet.
Yeah.
I think that's now enough on the Lord of the Rings. I think
Yes,
absolutely.
please.
Back
Right.
that part in.
There we go.
Back
Hooray.
to something more wholesome.
Age of
that's
Sigmar. I will now leave
Age
this
of
to you
Sigmar.
for Age of
Yay!
Cool. Age of Sigmar General's Handbook 2019. Shiny things.
Hey.
It feels like just yesterday I bought the 2018 one.
Yeah.
So I knew it was coming, but I'm like, well, hang on a minute. It hasn't been that long. Oh, I suppose it has been a year, yeah.
So, the Age of Sigmar preview, I actually wrote some notes on this. The Mortal Realms.
Cool.
Yes. New things to play battles with. General's Handbook essentially opens up new ways to mangle each other, including a version of City Fight for narrative play, and a way to play smaller battles optimized around the 1,000-point mark for match play. And then I got bored and went on to Warcry.
Warcry is definitely one I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Although, I think, to be honest, Fef pretty much covered everything there.
Kind of. I mean,
Look,
the open play they've got a lot of open world generators. It looks like they're sticking with generators, extra little objectives, things like they're hidden agendas, so you got yourself an extra little set of objectives to try and make sure to do. Name generators, so you can generate your own name for your generals, because I'll be honest, I have problems naming my stuff. Most of my stuff is not named.
The one thing I will just jump in and say, one thing that did kind of catch my eye when I went through this list is the mercenary company.
Yes.
Primarily because I always thought some of the most characterful models in old fantasy were the Dogs of War, the old mercenaries line.
Yeah,
I remember those.
I remember them too. They were fun.
I remember when Ogre Kingdoms came out.
So the Birdmen and the Galloping Guns and Lost Legion. They were just really cool concepts, and I would not be opposed to seeing that concept revived for Age of Sigmar.
I think it'll be interesting because it means that you can have a concept and a theme for certain models and know full well that concept will never make it to army level. There's just not enough of it. But you can make it a small scale merc company. And doing that means that you can still produce those awesome looking models. But there's no, okay, so we need 10 extra units just to bolt onto it to make it an army. Because you go, no, that's a mercenary company. There you go, have that. Next one.
Yeah, I am completely fine with that. It's like you said, it's small, awesome concepts that you can't really turn into an army without just diluting the essence of the thing.
Yeah.
So instead, make him a little mercenary force and tack him on and have fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
we've seen this work with things like Imperial Assassins, Inquisitors, so many other like small factions in 40k that work.
I was going to the Rogue Traders from the Rogue Trader set. I think it's a prime example of that.
Yeah,
but no, I think that could be very cool.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they bring out as mercenary companies. Whether they just do like, oh, there's a special set of Sylvaneth, or it's a special set of Flesh Eaters, or if they do actually go, this is a really kind of interesting set of dudes who started out this way but became something completely different.
Yeah,
I'd almost like to see a mercenary company generator. Like, okay, so you want mercenaries from X Force. Here's what you can take as a mercenary.
That'll be interesting, but that's probably what we'll see more GHB 2020 or 2021. They're probably going to test the water with mercenary companies first. If
just the idea came to me, but might have almost like when you say generate a mercenary company, it's like the background. So why is this group of Kharadron overlords? Why are they not like with the main faction? Why are they now mercenaries for hire?
Yeah,
and you could have a bit like we saw in Chapter Proof this year with battle honors and make your own character. Maybe a little optional rule just to kind of say, well, they left because of he got drunk and stabbed a man, and now rusty old airship hiring his services to keep his ship in repair or what.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Because that gets across a very, I don't want to say a civilian aspect to it, because they're still military units, but more of a real world aspect as such.
Yeah, it builds a lot more of the world of the Mortal Realms, which I'm always in favour of.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Shall we move on to Warcry?
Yes.
Yes.
So
has everyone watched the live action Warcry trailer?
It's a live action trailer?
Live action?
I just deafened myself.
It's a thing, yeah.
It's live action?
Just watched it. It's a thing.
It is very much a thing. Their hearts are in the right place, bless them.
They're enthusiastic. I'll give them that. Yes. It's fucking terrible. They're enthusiastic.
I will give Games Workshop ultimate credit in that they are not afraid to take the piss out of themselves, which is a nice shift from the last 15 or so years.
No, I completely agree. It's nice that they're a little bit more light-hearted with themselves.
Yes.
It's quite cool.
Because
Warcry itself is something I'm very much looking to.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like a Necromunda Theatre Sigmar, focused almost exclusively on Chaos.
Yeah.
And that's a nice change from, here's some Stormcast, have some Stormcast, eat the Stormcast, have the Stormcast, finally.
Have a Stormcast smoothie, enjoy.
I just watched the video. I'm going to say, it's better than Inquisitor if you've seen the terrible 90s straight to VHS Inquisitor movie.
Maybe put up a link to the YouTube thing.
It will be in the show notes.
Or even better, put up Snipe and Wibb's exploration of said video in the show notes.
I'll put both up. Cool. I mean, bless their little blood-soaked socks. Sorry, I don't have anything else to add to that. It's just, wow, okay, they did a thing.
The green screen is terrible, but yeah, we'll let that slide because the heart is in the right place.
The costumes aren't too bad, to be honest.
Oh, the
They're a
costumes
little-
are great.
I think they're pretty on point with the costumes from the miniatures that we've seen so far.
Maybe a little bit more Conan the Barbarian than in terms of style of costume. I mean, the look, rather than the royalistic look of, say, Lord of the Rings, a bit more kind of 80s sword and sorcery.
Yeah.
Right, so,
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Toy Soldiers time.
Yes. I think from what we've seen so far of Warcry, not just including these guys, but the two previous warbands, the one from Realm of Metal and one from Realm of Beasts, they've all got their own separate little character, and yet they're all chaos, which for me is that's just one of the better ways of exploring them all. Is it's chaos, but chaos isn't just Undivided, Khorne, Nurgle, Slanesh, Zench. That's it. You won't just have, this is a Khorne warband, and this is your Nurgle warband. We've basically just taken Age of Sigmar, put them into the setting and tried to make money off it. They've actually gone, right, how does Chaos interact with the mortal realms? Forget the Chaos codes. How does just the scrubs at the lowest level deal with being part of a Chaos warband in the Age of Sigmar?
Yeah. So, I really like these guys. Not going to lie, they would be miniatures I'd be happy to have, even if I never played the game.
I like the fact we have Chaos elves as well, and you can tell that some of them are very deeply stylized off the Ironnet Deepkin.
Yeah.
Which is very nice because you've got obviously the guy with the trident and the net, the plumes, which are very much Archelian cavalry inspired.
Yeah. It's also a nice visual tie back to the air quotes elves of 40k with the Dire Avenger plumes. They strike me as very similar to those.
Yes, I haven't spotted that before. Now you've said it. I was thinking Alpha Legion cultists, to be honest. That might just be all the same.
No, that's fair enough. That's because of all the serpent stuff. And I don't disagree.
To be fair, Dark Eldar heroes, anyone?
Yeah, especially witches.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Sorry, Drukari heroes.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that. Changing it. I think it'll be very interesting to see what the game itself looks like when it comes out. Because we've got 7 faction chaos, and so far we've seen miniatures for 3 of them.
I think if it's anywhere near as good as Kill Team, I think it will be a lot of fun.
I'll be honest, I wouldn't play it if it was if it was a similar rule set to the way Kill Team works. I would play it.
You know what I mean. If it's solid skirmish gameplay.
Oh yeah, it's got to be written better than Necromunda was, but if it's based around the Necromunda-esque campaign system.
I believe it's been developed by, I don't think it's the Specialist Games team, it's the same team that did Kill Team and Underworlds. Those are the people who are behind it.
Or if it's the Underworlds team, then I have faith because Underworlds is amazing.
In that case, from the sounds of it, the actual rules section should be fine. It'll just be the campaign player that I'll be wanting to see what.
On a slight tangent, going back to the previous release, I quite like the lion thing because I've now got Shadow Spear, and that lion is very, very similar to the Master of Possession.
Yes,
so I kind of want it as a spawn to go with it.
Well, that's the nice thing about Underworlds is that the kill teams themselves are not expensive to acquire, and I think they normally do them minus cards and stuff as well.
Very.
So yes, Warcry looks really interesting. I've kind of given myself a no more systems rule, but there's more to try and stop me playing everything, wanting to play everything, than actually.
Well, what you do is you say, okay, I'll buy one warband for it, and then you get the one, and then you find it's good, and then you want another one, and then it spirals.
And then you realise what a mistake you've made.
The one exception I have to that rule about the no more factions is Battlefleet Gothic. They re-released that, and that is my exception. So, also, going on to other Age of Sigmar stuff, we have Underworld stuff, Season 3 kicking off.
This lion thing is adorable, and I want it.
Yeah. And we have no idea where it's from.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm calling it as either a Chaos thing or a, what's it called, a Sigmarite type thing.
I was going to go a completely different direction to that, actually. I was thinking, what's happened to Wood Elves, as in proper Wood Elves?
I think they're all dead.
Question.
Because I believe they're now as Wanderers. They do still exist in the catalogue.
Yeah.
But I was sat there looking, going, based on my limited knowledge of Age of Sigmar, I was thinking Fire Slayers, because it's orange,
We
That's
already
that-
have a Fire Slayer's warband, though.
So I was looking through the other stuff, and
Well,
You say that,
sorry,
but we
go on.
already also have 2 Sith ones, so...
There is another
True.
one that it could potentially be, and I'm not saying this is likely, but it has got that kind of chaosy look in the tail, and it looks like
Yeah.
it's got hooves on its back legs, and it looks fiery.
Mm.
And the only other thing that really matches all of that is Chaos Dwarfs.
I could get behind that.
Now, I don't know if that's the case. I kind of hope it is.
got Chaos Elves, so
It would certainly be an interesting way for them to reintroduce Chaos Dwarves. I mean, they already have a Chaos Dwarf, so it's definitely not outside the realm of possibility.
Well, it would also fit with the way Games Workshop have done things recently. Like, we've seen the Squat come back to Necromunda. Instead of doing a full army, they've just done one for Necromunda. So maybe test the water with a Shadespire, Underworld's warband, and then build up from there if needs be.
Very possibly.
so we'll see where that model comes from.
Indeed.
Yeah.
More Forge World stuff. Everybody's favourite Blood Bowl team.
Yeah.
I like how he describes it as their less than glorious return to the tabletop. That's wonderful.
However, the Wood Elf team looks good.
The halflings, they look ridiculous, but they do look fantastic. They are possibly the most characterful team.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what they were going for.
Yeah, I think historically the halflings kind of are. They're the most characterful team, but only because they're very, very, very difficult to use competitively.
Yeah.
But if you can pull it off, well, then you're a fucking king.
Yes.
But I do completely agree. The Wood Elves do look. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the CGI renders. I know why they give it them, so I've got some idea of what's going on there. But the painted Dryad looks awesome.
It's definitely cool.
Yeah.
I like the old age sprites around her. A lot of gremlin-y things.
Yeah, it's nice to see a callback to classic fantasy there.
Some more stuff for Necromunda, weapon packs for Delac.
Which people, I think those are far too late for a lot of people. I've seen a lot of conversions on Yak Tribe, and a lot of people saying, "Well, we haven't got them yet, so we'll just do this." I do wonder sometimes what Forge World's doing with their release schedule, because
they should really drop at the same time as the plastic kit, really, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
Ideally, I'll just be like a couple of weeks delayed. I think it's been months since we've had this LAC kit drop, and now they're dropping special weapons. I mean, I know a lot of people who play Necromunda in different circles, and I've talked to quite a few of them as well about it, and they're like, no, I'm bit my own now. It's like, no, cool. So there's at least a good 100, nearly 200 quid that Forge World dropped just because of a few months. That's just in like the 10 people I know.
Yeah.
But moving on to the two characters, the Dome Runner, he's all right.
Yeah.
I really like the Ammo Jack. The Ammo Jack is...
Well, he certainly fulfills the promise of his name.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wait, is he a character called Ammo Jack, or is he Ammo Jack, the guy called Jack who delivers the ammo?
Well,
No,
Jack
he's
is not
higher up.
capitalized, so I'm going to assume he is just a Ammo Jack rather than called Ammo Jack.
Yeah,
I believe
he's a
the way
hangers
they-
on for Necromunda. Go on.
I was about to say, I believe these are the hangers. I was going to say these are the hangers on. I'm not entirely sure how they work, but I believe you can recruit them based on your reputation.
Yeah,
so
so
you
you've
can get,
got
cooks and
reputation is a resource, and hangers on kind of like extras that you can hire for your gang. Some of them are like brutes that fight directly in games. Others, like the Ammo Jack, give you passive bonuses, and they might turn up to a game if you're defending on like a 4+.
Fair
So
enough.
you've got like a chance that one might turn up, and you might need that miniature. But they
I do
have
like the one
particular rules.
directly below them, mostly because he nullifies your previous complaint about the candles, Danny, because these ones are lit quite clearly.
Absolutely. They're all lit. That's perfect. That's fine. If
Well,
you're
not
gonna have
all
to-
lit,
like-
but they're mostly all lit.
this is actually the second version of this model we've seen.
Yes, it is.
Yes, but
Previous
that's
one.
because the first one had a KKK hood.
Yes, I mean, I kind of get why they have the KKK hood, because that is kind of it's a bit of religious clothing for certain sects.
Yeah, because the KKK hood was originally a religious garb.
Yeah.
So I get why the designer would have put it on, and then someone went, maybe not.
Just
Unfortunately, the world is a lot more
we
sensitive.
can't do that.
Like, oh dear.
Honestly, it was really good Inquisitor's henchman.
Yes.
Yeah,
This was my thought when I
Absolutely.
saw that.
particularly with the big like hazmat boot.
He
He does
he's
ring a
cool.
bit more Inquisitor than he does of Cordor, in my opinion, at that point. The only thing that makes him truly Cordor is the noose around his neck.
Cool.
And then we have another video. Have you all watched this video? I mean, it is just like a
I
soundtrack.
have just now.
Yeah, I've watched it.
So, Enforcers, cool.
Hey, Judge Dredd's back.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that is what it sounded like.
I think it'll be interesting to see how they do the miniatures for it and how they introduce them. If they're going to do a whole new supplement, I can't believe they're going to release a whole just the Enforcers in. There's got to be just more to it than that, because that's almost paltry
I
for
think-
something like that.
I'd say realistically, we're probably 6 months off the Enforcers dropping, because they haven't actually
absolutely.
even shown models. So I could see them being the next thing for Necromunda.
Mm.
But what else they kind of roll into that? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm cool. I really like the Enforcers. Kind of wish they were Arbiters, but again, it doesn't really fit so much with Necromunda. I guess I think the Enforcers are probably a better choice.
In Necromunda, I think Arbiters and Enforcer would, if a freely swapped around term in a lot of
Fair
ways.
enough.
Whereas nowadays you've got them, they've separated those terms for this. I think if they roll it up and in the next couple of months, say, by the end of the year we will have an Outlanders book, and you've had the teaser video for the Enforcers. Here's one for the Ratskins. Here's one for the Scavies. Here's one for the Spirers. That would be brilliant.
What I can kind of see is it maybe not being that, but if, again, I was listening to Voxcast, and they had one of the Forge World designers on, and they were kind of saying, yes, we want to do Spires and Ratskins and all this kind of stuff, but we also want to explore other aspects from Necromunda. Partly what they're doing with Necromunda is being able to put one planet, one hive under an absolute microscope and go, well, how does this actually work? I can kind of see alongside in book that gets Enforcers stuff for the guilds, because there's Methium Guild, Water Guild, Corp Scarch Guild.
That's a good point.
So I can see it being like the Enforcers and guilds kind of all wrapped in, so with hired guns thrown into that.
That is a good point, actually, yeah. You make a very good point there. So if they do that, I would instead expect to see then a book based around the guilds themselves, either using them as hangers-on or using them as gangs.
That's how I would see it. But then rolling a bit further along, we have weapons for Adeptus Titanicus.
Not just weapons,
Ooh.
a whole new class of knight.
Ooh.
Yes, the Acastus. The Acastus Porphyrin, I believe, is being introduced, and that thing, for scale purposes, is the same size, same height as an Adeptus Titanicus, so it is pretty big compared to the other knights.
Nice.
Again, my thoughts on Titanicus haven't changed since the last time we discussed it. I'd love to get into it, but it's just a bit too expensive at the moment.
It's one of those that once
Yeah.
I've got enough projects sorted out, then I will be, but because it's going to be a case of sorting out a number of projects first, it'll be a little way ahead. That actually means that I'll be in a much better position for when it does come round to it, purely because of this kind of thing coming out. The continued support. I mean, we've got extra weapon kits for these guys now. We've got extra miniatures. We've actually got now. We've got 2 new classes of knight from when it first released, and I can see them literally adaptifying nearly everything to do with Titans and Knights. In fact, it'd be kind of awesome to see armatures at some point.
Oh, they'd
Yeah.
be tiny.
It'd be awesome, though. Can you imagine that?
It
I
would,
wouldn't want to go any smaller than Armager.
I can kind of see them, because the reason they've increased the scale for Titanicus, I remember reading an article on this when they first were talking about it. So the reason they have increased the scale is so that you can differentiate marks of marine armor.
Oh, okay.
Is what they said. Is there's like the reason we've upped the scale is you wanted to be able to show, you'd be able to see, oh, he's in Mark III, he's in Mark. Now, whether that's just justification so people can't use their old Titanicus, only you need to decide. But, and especially with the trailer that's afterwards, I think we are going to see the return of Epic, but in a kind of long term, I can see them adding bits and bits at a time to eventually you have the Epic range.
See, I have 2 thoughts on that. One, brilliant. Epic coming back sounds really cool. On a second one, so long as it's a separate game system and it's not rolled into Adeptus Titanicus. Because if they do that, then that will probably just turn me off completely. At that point, it's no longer about stomping. It's about the biggest concentration of anti-tank missiles vehicle squad.
I would say it's going to be a bit like Kill Team is to 40k.
Yeah.
So you can use your Titans for Adeptus Titanicus in Epic, but they also can still be played as a separate game on their own.
Mm.
I think from what I've heard about Epic Titanicus, it's a lot of micromanagement of power systems within the Titan and all that kind of stuff. So probably if you then to add infantry formations and tank formations on top of that, it becomes a bit too unwieldy. Because you'd essentially have, well, these guys use this control system, these dice, and this uses this one. I think that'd be too much to have. I could see the Titans will probably be simplified for Epic.
And I've got no problem with that. So long as they keep them as two distinct systems that, your models can pull double duty for, but not just going to go, right, he's a load of infantry. Your Adeptus Titanicus is now no longer that. It's just now Epic. As long as they keep them separate, perfectly happy.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I used to play Epic many, many years ago, and it was a bit like Apocalypse, where you could have rank upon rank of troops, and it was all good fun and yay. And then some bastard would punk down a Titan, and all of a sudden, it became a very one-sided game.
I can see that. I completely agree. It's what turns me off the most about Apocalypse. But if someone goes, I got a Titan, it's like, oh, cool. I suppose I'll go then, shall I?
I don't have a Titan. See, this is... I would love a Titan. I really would. But it's kind of
This is what Adeptus Titanicus is for. Look at the Titan. Look how cheap they are compared to the Forge World Titan.
See, I saw at an Apocalypse game last summer somebody who bought a Reaver Titan with them, and they had magnetized it at the waist, and the magnets didn't hold. And if you've ever seen 1,000 pounds of resin shatter, it is quite the sight.
Another reason why some miniature concepts are just not made for 40k. They're really, really not.
Yeah.
As like the people who go out and get the is it the Imperator? The Emperor? The gigantic ones are like
the Warlord.
Warlord. I was going to say,
No, there's one that's even bigger than that. Or no, the Warlord's the biggest Forge World one. Yeah, no, you're right.
There's the Imperator class, which is big, but for scale reference, an Imperator in Epic was the size of an Imperial Knight these days. So
yeah. So, but it's like if people go out and buy Warlords and like, oh, I'm going to put this on the table. It's like, how? You put that on the table, there will be no table.
I have seen
it next to the table.
I have seen a wonderful idea of a board that was the top of the carapace of an Imperator class, which was a small city to fight over. But that was a 6 foot by 4 foot board, and it was.
That's a very cool concept.
That kind of thing's cool.
Yeah,
but that's different to buying the £3,500 bloody Titan and going, cool. I've got nowhere to put this, so I suppose I can't use it.
I can suggest where anyone who has enough money to buy one of those things can put it, but they won't like it.
I think if you buy one of those, you don't buy it as a game piece. You buy it as a display piece, presentation piece. I bought this because I could.
Yeah.
And then you cry as you realise you've spent £3,500 on a present that no one's ever going to see.
It's something that you will never use.
Yeah, and you can't put anywhere.
Congratulations, you've just spent 3 months of solid London rent on a piece of resin.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the next thing from this part of the preview. Aeronautica Imperialis.
I wish Games Workshop still had to deal with Fantasy Flight Games because X-Wing.
Yeah, I do like the X-Wing system. I don't play it enough, and I haven't actually played any of Point 2 yet. But
it plays about the same as Point 1.
Okay, fair. It'd be interesting to see what they draw. I think they will draw inspiration from X-Wing.
I hope so.
I think that is the kind of the standard for aerial dogfighting.
You've got to remember that Speed Freaks came out and that uses template.
Yeah.
So it's not outside the realms of possibility. They'll have a similar system of it that they had in Speed Freaks. So I wouldn't be too forlorn about there being a lack of maneuvering templates. You may well see them, just not as you know them.
Yeah. On the bright side, things we can quantify. Horus Heresy Book 9.
Yay! My first thought is I'm looking forward to seeing that Titan as Adeptus Titanicus.
Yeah. That's
the exact same thing I thought about the Nemesaur. And because the thing I would never... Nemesis, yeah, the Nemesis Titan. I think I might call it the Nemesaur Titan anyway. But that's... Every time I see one of these releases going, we've released this huge, gigantic model that you'll never be able to afford or use. I go, all right, cool. So at some point, they're going to shrink that down to about the size of a knight, and I can use it in Adeptus Titanicus in the next 5 to 10 years.
The pertinent question in my mind is that thing wielding 4 sea beamers?
Yes.
It does look like it.
Because if that's got 4 sea beamers, that is scary.
That would appear to be the case, yes.
With 2 Volkite cannons as well.
I hadn't even noticed the Volkite cannons.
Oh, yeah!
Again,
Like, tucked under the arms.
He's got
all
sea
sea
beamers.
Yeah,
I mean, yes, that looks like it would be incredibly nasty.
Yep.
and the likelihood of me ever owning one is so minuscule it's not even worth considering.
Adeptus Titanicus for the win. Just wait for it to get shrunk down. Then even if you don't play the game, you can buy one because it's a nice miniature.
That's very true.
Because they don't lose any of the detail when they shrink it for the AT anymore. It's quite
This
nice.
is the joy of digital sculpting.
So then we've got some White Scars. Now, we have seen these before.
Yeah.
Again, they're nice models. I don't quite get why the guy's in Cataphractii armour rather than Tartarus. I believe is the other pattern of Terminator armour during the Heresy, the faster version.
Yeah, I suppose it's probably because to solidify that the White Scars aren't all about speed. I mean, they do have a Dreadnought stood next to them. Those things aren't fast.
But then the guys below
I
are
remain
in
forever
Tartarus armor.
disappointed they did not construct a gigantic bike for the Dreadnought to ride,
Yes.
because that is what a true White Scar would have done.
Well, that's the... Yes. I mean, if they don't put Jagatai Khan on a giant bike, they've missed the trick.
Yeah.
The other complaint with the Praetor being in Cataphractii, he can't go with their special Terminators. Well, he
That's
can,
a very good
but
point.
because the special Terminators are Tartarus pattern.
Huh.
Yeah.
You just slows them down.
I do very much like the swords these guys are wielding.
Yes, very nice. And black White Scars. I quite like it.
Yeah.
It does look quite nice.
Yeah, they look like kind of a death company for them.
Speaking of Death Company,
Segway.
Chapter Master Ralphron.
I'm not blown away by him, but I love the severed arm on his base.
I like the idea of what he's just finished doing.
Yes.
The actual model doesn't matter that much, but yeah, the implied action is there.
Mm.
Well,
And better
there's
for
a
it.
A lot of
detail
dynamism
in
to
that
it.
wound as well.
Absolutely. It's gives a lot of dynamism and character to the piece without him actually needing to move so much, which is quite nice.
Yeah, I do kind of think he looks a bit... I'm not a fan of the colour scheme they're doing. He looks a little cartoony.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah,
he's
you're not
got
wrong.
the very plastic hair from Dawn of War 1.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah, you're right. That
He's
weird stripe on the head.
Yeah, he's committed heresy. We need to move on.
Yes.
All right, and what we move on to is oh dear. I mean, the land speeder's a land speeder and it has lots of guns, but then directly below it, oh dear. Okay.
Rift for Her Pleasure comes to mind.
Yeah, we've got White Scars riding gigantic penis extension guns.
I
This
mean,
is,
in fairness, that is what the jet bikes in 30k look like. But
Oh yeah, I know.
Problem is, I have an image of them compressing and extending along those segmented lines. And
Yeah.
Like
therefore,
Caterpillar.
they have a thrusting motion.
Yeah, it does just... The entire thing just has unfortunate implications.
You could almost drop the back off.
They're wonderful. They are wonderful, but my god.
on the subject of thrusting, the Dreadnought has a jump pack.
Yes,
Yes.
it does.
Mm-hmm.
Now that is pretty.
Yeah,
It says
that
it's
is
single
wonderful.
use, but yeah, they have managed to make a Dreadnought look like it's actually going to move.
Because I don't care if it's single use. That is. Imagine a Contemptor Dreadnought landing in front of you.
Yeah.
Just
I mean-
an instant death.
Yeah.
It looks like it's...
And it is
close
somewhat
to
fitting
building.
that it's the Blood Angels that came up with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It just puts me in mind of you could probably build a house out of the number of bricks you would shit when that thing landed. Because
Yep.
that is just
If there isn't some kind of effect for when it lands, like some form of blast template or area effect or something, I will be very disappointed.
It'd better do
Because
mortal wounds
something
when it
like
comes
that
down.
crashing down should, yeah.
Well, there isn't mortal wounds in.
Oh yeah, good point.
Heresy.
Okay, yeah,
It's
large
based on
blast.
7. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've also got a gunship for Custodes.
Hello,
Very
Flash Gordon.
shiny.
Yeah,
Very shiny. Oh my god, you're right. Yes, it is Flash Gordon.
With a disturbingly shaped cannon on the front.
Holy crap.
That might just be where my brain's going after work today.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
But I think cooler, maybe it's just the paint
it's-
scheme, is the Demons of the Runestorm.
Don't get me wrong,
Yes.
it is very cool.
Yes.
It's just, it puts me very much in
Yes,
mind
they
of
do look.
old school.
I like
Yeah.
the demons. I like the look of those demons a lot.
Yes.
I agree with that. I think that they're nice because they're undivided demons that aren't just, oh, we can't be bothered.
It's not just it's furies. It's nothing but furies. It's these boring little winged things. No. This looks cool.
Yep.
This looks cool. They
If
got
you've
weapons
looked at-
made of bone. They're changing color. They're doing all sorts of crap. It looks fun.
Have you
I
looked
like
at the rules for Demons of the Runestorm? They are possibly the most customizable rules ever.
Cool.
There's not many unit types. There's like 3 HQs, a couple of elite, 1 troop, but the options you can give them are ridiculous.
You can mix and match them a lot. Okay,
Think
that's cool.
like it seemed to be like, oh, well, this pack has acid breath and wings.
Yeah.
Oh, this ones are built like brick shithouses, and
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I do like the little description, like representing chaos in its wildest, most untamed form, all that stuff. That's nice because that means you take it away from chaos undivided, which is otherwise known as chaos undecided. And yeah, yeah, you actually just slice it all away, and it's just chaos. This is what chaos does, and yeah, I'm fanboying a little. They look really pretty. They look really pretty.
So, moving on to the 1000 preview. Firstly, Apocalypse. I don't think they tell us any more than what they revealed a few weeks ago.
Can I read my
Interesting.
notes from that release?
Yes.
Please do.
So, Apocalypse looks playable now. Actually, that looks fun. And it doesn't lead to first turn wins. Wait a minute, this is just epic. It's epic at 28 mil scale. Because it is.
Yes. Yeah, I'll admit that was kind of my conclusion.
So
It is epic, but bigger.
I think the conceit of Apocalypse now is you roll a lot of dice, each roll a lot of dice in the turn.
Yeah.
And at the end of that turn, you both take away casualties. So you kill each other first, and then, yay. So your Titan doesn't get ganked first turn before.
It is going to be pretty much like, it's going to be pretty much like an ice cream tub of dice to chuck
the nice
around.
thing here, though, is that this is, from what I understand of it, this is not individual troops firing. This is whole detachments firing at once.
Okay. That could simplify it quite a bit.
They may well simplify the dice rolls in that case. So you'll have 20 dudes, but rather than rolling 20 dice, you might roll like 2 or 3.
Have you seen what you get in the box? Because they've got a preview a little bit further along. They have D12s.
Yeah, they do.
So we know it's at least 2 steps on a dice more epic than Kill Team.
But no, could be quite interesting. But need to see the rules before anything else. Can I have a little bit of a rant next?
Sure.
Please be my guest.
Of what's next? Primaris have got a new tank.
Yeah.
What do Primaris desperately need?
What they haven't got.
An Emperor-loving transport. What have they given us? I mean, fair to them. The problem
more gun.
The problem with the Repulsor is it has too many guns to be a effective transport. It wants to be a main battle tank with a troop compartment. So, fair enough. What they've done, hopefully they've reduced the troop compartment a little bit. So I might only carry 5 guys, but stuck more guns on it. I'm not necessarily against this, because I kind of like the souped-up las cannon and a plasma executioner on a tank.
I actually think they've done something very smart here. They've given your opponent a bigger target than your troop transport carrier.
Yeah, this is kind of the ultimate distraction card effect, isn't it?
Just more gun.
Oh dear. Well, yeah, more gun. It's a viable strategy.
Well, do you think Belisarius Call, and one thing, how is he not dead yet? But also, do you think Belisarius Call's listened to the orcs and gone, more Daka?
I think he's kind of he's written up all these cool weapon designs, and Gilman's not really letting him use them too much, unless it's to do with going, right, since you want them carry this, let's put it on a tank. Tanks can carry everything. My creations will be used.
The macroplasma incinerator is already on the Dreadnought. In fact, the only unique weapon is, what do they call it?
Oh, it's the
heavy laser destroyer.
Basically, las cannon.
Yeah, big las cannon.
Hold on,
and then just powering through this, I know one player was very excited when he saw this. Admech finally have a transport.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I'm going to ruin it, I'm afraid, by saying it looks like my toaster.
It does a bit,
Like-
but I quite like it.
Oh, I like it a lot. It's just, it looks like my toaster. It's even the right colour.
I think they've taken a lot of inspiration from the form design of this from D-Day Amphibian Craft.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But I've seen pictures on Reddit where people have added legs to it, and I prefer that version.
See, my problem when you add legs to it is it looks like an ATTE.
I don't think that's a problem, really.
See,
No,
I'm
fair.
two minds about this. I think for the transport, it looks better hovering as a hover tank.
Yeah.
The tank version, I don't quite know, but the legs do look good. I'm not sure if they look better, but they do look good. But yeah, quite a cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the second one does look even more like a toaster.
Yeah.
I mean, the landing craft, maybe not so much for the toaster.
No, you've got your bread slot at the top. You've got your crumb tray that drops down at the front. You're all good.
Going from loyal servants of the Imperium to foul
Uh,
heretics.
I'm just watching the video for this. The music is disturbingly happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
They have whoever makes their trailers. They're doing a bang up job.
Yeah, this is good. I like this.
I think
I
they've
think
got
ever
some fresh
since-
blood for the thing.
if my
I
throat
also
wasn't
like
telling me
the,
I would squee at these models because Chaos Knights. Yes.
Yeah, I do like what they've written directly below the video. The Imperial Knight is an immediately iconic design, and it cannot be improved upon, but you can add spikes.
Yes.
I like how they made them look innately more evil without really doing too much to the core design element.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a nice thing to see because it means that they're actually taking Chaos Knights seriously. Looking at it, it looks like there are a few unique weapons options because that battle cannon on the one on the right is not your bog standard rapid fire battle cannon. That
No.
looks distinctly unpleasant.
It's probably
The
a Reaper
claw-
variant.
That'd be cool. The claw is on the right hand side rather than the left for the Thunderstrike Gauntlet, and spikes. And as I can attest from converting an Imperial Knight to a Chaos Knight, spikes make the difference.
Well, it's the main iconic design of the Chaos Space Marine range. It's just spikes.
If you look at the top-down view, there are horns actually poking through the carapace, and they look really good.
Oh, yes.
So it's got something growing within it. It's got basically a
yeah.
demon engine.
Well, it's chaos, isn't it? It's all slowly coming to horrible, unholy life.
Which is quite cool. I like the way they've done that.
Oh, it's lovely.
Very well done, the miniatures on that one.
So the last model revealed, and it's not really a reveal because we have seen it before, but a painted version of the upcoming limited edition Sister of Battle.
I have interesting thoughts on this because it's like, you showed us this last year, but now it's in colour.
I think last year they showed us what was probably a render of the miniature. This is the actual miniature painted. So they've gone from concept to this is it actually done.
Yeah,
There are a
I
couple
still
of
doesn't feel like that much, to be honest.
No, it doesn't, but it doesn't mean they're closer to production than they were last year.
Yeah, I'm going to maintain my healthy skepticism with Plastic Sisters until I see the kit.
I would say, but if they are, I don't think they're going to be a million miles away from this sculpt. I think this is what we're going to get. And if they look like this, I will have an allied detachment.
Yeah.
I kind of feel I should buy some Sisters just to kind of support.
Yeah, we've asked for it. Now we should make good on asking for it.
Yeah.
Makes me glad I'm a Xenos player.
I don't know, because Sisters were one of my first armies in 40k, and there were a lot of metal ones. They came in boxes of 10 that cost entirely too much money even back then, and I've always had a great love for them, and felt like they got very, very short-changed as the years have gone by.
Yeah.
But I want a multi-part, fully posable plastic kit for Sisters that allows for customization with different heads, different helmets, and yeah, until I get that, I'm going to be quietly hopeful but still massively skeptical.
Good attitude to take. I can't fault that attitude. I'm looking forward to the Sisters release. I think it'll be interesting to see how they flesh them out.
I hope I stand with a lot of people who have respected the Sisters for a long time, saying that the less flesh, the better. I don't want the Repentiers to come back.
That was it. The Repenters.
Yeah.
I kind of get what they were trying to do with it, but you've kind of already got the. In my mind, they were a bit too close between them and the archoflagellants.
Yes.
They kind of overlap. I guess the idea is that if a sister, maybe this is a better fun when we discuss female representation in 40k. I was going to bring up the point of dwarf slayers are essentially naked.
See, I've got no problem with nakedness in miniatures. The problem I had was that these are people in practical armor who run around shooting big guns, and suddenly you're going to strip them naked, wrap them in bandages, give them a massive chainsaw, and tell them to go and cut things up.
But as far as I understand, the lore behind them is they are sisters who have made a mistake, or
they're sisters who did a bad. But yeah,
pretty much, yeah.
And therefore,
but there's ways to show that you did a bad and you want to make it right without stripping naked.
So again, this is what I was going to say with that is it's by making themselves vulnerable. It's a bit like the flagellants. The flagellants don't go into battle in armor; they go in tattered. Maybe robes. Robes might have been better.
I think, some kind of modesty, because that's a big theme in the sisters, would have been good there. And I don't know. I feel like it was a misguided attempt to appeal to the 13-year-old boys that were hanging out in Games Workshop at the time to get them into the army. And don't get me wrong, it worked on a lot of people I knew at that point in time, but it's not a good idea.
But I think overall, based on that model, I have hope for the sisters line.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they're going to be overly sexualized. I think, actually, there was a good point made when the Slanesh line dropped, but they weren't overly sexualized.
Oh, I have great love for the new Slanesh models for that exact reason. They're almost more sexual with being less sexualized, if that makes sense. Like, you look at that Keeper of Secrets, it's a very predatory, sinuous model. And, without having tits everywhere, which is impressive.
And with that basically gets us to the end of the preview. There is some more stuff on contrast. We've already talked contrast. Funko Pops. We've talked Funko Pops. Really excited to see what comes out of the Siege of Terror.
Oh, yes.
It'll be certainly interesting to see how they tackle apart the storyline.
Does this mean the Horus Heresy may actually end at some point?
In about 11 books' time.
Yeah.
Actually, no, maybe even less than that, actually. I think it might be 8. So they've said it's going to be less than was in the Beast Arises series, and I think the Beast Arises was 12 to 14.
Fair enough.
And I watched it. If you want to know a bit more, I'd go and watch the Black Library interviews with the authors.
Yeah.
They've been quite interesting to watch. Aaron Dembski-Bowden wanted to kill Lorgar.
Oh.
He was not allowed to kill Lorgar, but he wanted to have Lorgar to have a moment of introspection and realise, the Chaos Gods are actually bastards.
Yeah.
I have doomed the galaxy to...
He done goofed.
Yeah, and then get killed.
That'll be interesting. The nice twist at the end was that the whole thing around really is at the end of it going, actually, may have
then
made a
again,
mistake.
at the end of the day, Lorgar's a little bitch, so...
Yeah,
there is that.
And on that bombshell...
And we end on, Lorgar's a little bitch. Wonderful.
That is the best place to end.
Definitely the best place to end. Thank you very much for joining us all tonight. Thanks to my fellow hosts. And well done for getting to the end of this. If I ever meet you in person, I'll give you a gold star.
Hell, if anyone comes up to me and says that they've made it to the end of this episode, I will give them a hug.
They might get a rather strange look from me. My brain is aware that.
I pray to God nobody comes up to me to say this.
And on that note, it's good night from me.
And from me.
Good night, people.
And from me.
Now to tell Craig to piss off.
Bye, Craig.
Bye.